All right, here we go. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Oakland Mills Community Association Village Board of Directors. We're going to start off with a couple of administrative items on the agenda. The first is to approve the minutes from our May 24th, 2022 board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
We can't approve them because they're not done yet, so we have to move it.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what? I forgot. Yeah, we only saw, wait a minute. No, we did see a draft, didn't we?
I thought that I sent it, but when I went back and looked at my file, they weren't even done and I couldn't find anything in my email. So
Wait a minute. I swear I
Yeah,
reviewed minutes.
For today.
I don't know.
And I looked at mine and we couldn't find them either.
I will say that like University of Baltimore was having some problems with its Outlook, losing emails and stuff. But I mean, my file on my computer, unless I saved it somewhere wrong,
You know what? I
did not have
must
updated
be
minutes.
I must be thinking of the meeting before that because I archive all of our minutes in a certain folder and I don't see it either.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened.
Oh wow.
So we'll have to do it next time. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. See, you could have fooled me. You probably everyone. You could have said nothing and we would have approved minutes we never
We're
saw.
too honest.
Okay. Ginny, would you like to retract that motion?
I'm deciding. I'm trying to make up my mind. Okay.
All right. All right. Well, the next item would be to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. And I know we have a
I'm
copy
gonna
of that.
try for that. I moved.
And I have an amendment.
Before you, yeah, before you move, I do want to point out, well, okay, we're going to make the amendment. So let's just, is there a motion to approve?
I made the motion to approve.
Okay, motion from Ginny, a second from Warren. Okay, is there discussion or amendments?
Amendment. To
And
add
your
a close,
amendment is?
to at the after committee reports, to add a closed session for consultation with staff or attorneys to discuss pending or potential litigation. And then after we will come out of closed session, we'll adjourn.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All right, all in favor of approving the agenda as amended? Nothing. All right, we are underway. First up on our business is resident remarks. So if you are a resident and would like to make remarks to the board, please use the Zoom hand raising feature and I will call you in the order your hand goes up and you will have up to 3 minutes for your remarks. Anyone for resident remarks? I had a feeling that would be the case since we don't have any residents in attendance right now. All right, moving on from resident remarks, we have one item of new business and we have a guest with us and that is Nina Basu, and she is president and CEO of the Inner Arbor Trust. And she is here to make a presentation on the Inner Arbor Trust about their programming and realizing their inner vision. So Nina, I know you had a slideshow that you shared with us, and I believe Sandy has already made you co-host, so you should be able to take over and share. And we have 20 minutes allotted to this.
Okay, thank you very much. As Jonathan said, I'm Nina Basu, President and CEO of the Inner Arbor Trust. I think I know many of you, if not all of you. Those of you I don't know, I'm looking forward to getting to know. I'm also a Long Reach resident and a member of that village board. So it's great to be here. I keep on making the joke in one of my favorite 10 villages, but Oakland Mills kind of feels like home since, you know, Long Reach and Oakland Mills really are next to each other and, you know, we share so much. So it's one of my very favorite villages. And one of the closest villages to downtown, particularly those of you who are in Stevens Forest. So I just wanted to come today to give a quick update on what we're doing at the Inner Arbor Trust and, you know, an update on where we are in terms of capital improvements, environmental sustainability, and programming. So I've seen many of you at the Chrysalis. I hope to see everyone at the Chrysalis soon. So our mission statement as an organization is to promote and nurture a park in a unique natural setting for a variety of arts and cultural experiences that enrich the entire community. we take entire community extremely, extremely seriously. We find it very important to make sure that our audience, our artists, are truly reflective of our broader Columbia and Howard County and regional community. So we try to be intentionally inclusive in everything we do. Wanted to start with the 2021 concept plan. We got to stop calling this a concept plan. It is now an actuality plan. As many of you know, Symphony Woods is really the keystone green space in downtown Columbia, and thanks to the bridge, we are a very, very short walk across that 29 bridge from Oakland Mills to Symphony Woods. I believe we did the math. I think it's about 0.7 of a mile from the Chrysalis stage to Stevens Forest. So this is just a graphic of the concept plan. It is.
This is blank.
Oh, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Do you see the graphic now?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So this is the graphic of the concept plan. It is similar in function and purpose as to the original plan. It is probably different in design language. And while I have a phenomenal amount of respect for Michael McCall, and he's one of, the greatest Colombians ever, and he did die last year. I miss him very much. I do think that after building the Chrysalis and taking a realistic look at how the rest of the area was developing, we came up with a plan that has fidelity to his overall vision while being very driven by the community, and I think more executable long term. In terms of funding for this fiscal year, we have in capital funding $44,000 from Chesapeake Bay Trust, $850,000 from Howard County, $1 million for state of Maryland, and $1 million pre-authorization for the next 2 years from state of Maryland. The priorities is driven by the board for the concept plan implementation are A, the comprehensive lighting plan, B, the colonnade, and C, the Bend in the Creek playground. The comprehensive lighting plan, who here has cursed at the lack of light while leaving the Chrysalis late at night or an MPP concert thinking we should probably have some lights around here? Anybody else? So we're going to fix that problem. So first and foremost, between the county funding and some funding from a prior CA grant, we're going to light these pathways. And these will be lit very similarly to how the rest of downtown is lit through some more standard pathway and street lighting. Now, around the Chrysalis use area, these will become more functional lighting, including some solar floods up at the top of the hill. So when it's night and the audience is ready to go, we've got, big floodlights coming in. Finally, on Access Drive, there are some temporary construction light poles that are very ugly and not all that safe. And those temporary construction light poles have been there since since I was in high school, and I graduated in 1998. So it's not so temporary anymore. So we can fix this problem with some smart investment. We can fix this problem sustainably because this is a great location, one of the few great locations for solar. So our next priority after lighting is the colonnade and improving the ridgeline. So this is the current conditions at that perimeter, sort of at that northern edge of Meriwether Post Pavilion and sort of that first inner loop of Symphony Woods. And we can do better, right? This is not the look we want for our kind of community space. So we need new, better fencing. But in addition to that, we need a porous border. And this border is really functional. It also takes the place of what the Caterpillar was previously. So
Nina, that's blank again. There you go.
see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, you see a little stage, people with hats.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Sorry about that. So the colonnade is designed as a porous border. So on a day, so later in time, MPP is supposed to make the lawns accessible for public use as a public benefit. And that's kind of awesome. You know, when that can happen, you can have people flowing over and having this great public use. If it's a festival, you have the ability to be on both properties. But let's say they've got lots of stuff going on and they need to close it off. Well, this allows this portion of Symphony Woods to still be activated, to still be inviting. You've got these seating areas, you've got opportunities to display art, you've got this adjacent pathway. And, you know, this area on Boardwalk can be made market stalls during various times. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity here to use some good design to make the space much more functional for the public. Also for seniors, this is the straightest, flattest, shortest walk from the west side of the property to the Chrysalis area. And that's another big benefit that comes out of this project. Now we get to my favorite capital improvement, the Bend in the Creek playground. And so the idea was to try to figure out how to include nature and, you know, the trees and the stream in play. And so some of these are, that's Morris Arboretum to the far right, if anyone has been there in Philadelphia, you know, to try to figure out how to do this, but also to make it inclusive. So we're calling this the Bend in the Creek playground. My children call it the Ewok Village, for anyone who's a Star Wars fan. And they tell me every morning, okay, you got funded. Like, what's the timeline on building? You're not moving fast enough, Mom. So this is a pretty exciting structure. The idea is that the play space is truly inclusive. There's nowhere in this play space that you can't access with a wheelchair. There's nowhere that's too small to allow an adult to go in. There's nowhere that's, you know, not accessible in some way by people of all abilities. It's all ages, it's all abilities, it's truly inclusive, and it would be a first of its kind in the area. And then moving on from our capital improvements to something a little maybe less exciting, but probably just as important, if not more, the conservation landscaping project that we started last year and continue through this year. We've been calling this Planning the Future in Symphony Woods. And I could not be more proud of this project. So we started after we, you know, we're deep in COVID when we passed the plan. And the first piece of feedback I got from everyone is, nice plan. Where are you going to find the money? Never going to build it. So we wanted to start with one thing, and that was ecological management of stormwater and turf. And the space had not been managed scientifically for a long time. Prior to the pandemic into 2019, we were able to create some standards and some scientific basis for the management of the space, and that has been beneficial. But now that we understand the space, you know, really trying to reforest it, to plant it strategically, to manage the turf and make sure it's there for a long time. So we started last year with a goal of raising $50,000. We raised $184,000. So the project that was supposed to be about a year is going to take 2. And we're thrilled to have that delay. We planted 4 garden areas in 2021 that are, actually they're working on them right now as they're improving them. 1 large area in 2022, which is a significant area for soaking up water, as well as some reforestation this fall. So I want to welcome you to the, you know, the programming side now and the Chrysalis. Sorry about that. We really try to make sure that we're providing art for everyone, and we really mean everyone, age, background, income. Really, we want this to be this magical, joyful space for the entire community. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about our major programming areas. I know a lot of you have been to the Chrysalis before, but number one are community concerts. This is from Columbia Orchestra. It's an all ages, intentionally inclusive events for the entire community. We try to make sure our calendar is reflecting our overall community and the artistic community. This becomes a great opportunity for introduction of new genres and new ideas. I love hearing for the Columbia Orchestra, people come up to me and say, I have never taken my family to see the symphony. This was amazing. I wouldn't have done it indoors, and it was a free event. I hear people saying, I've never tried opera before. That was really cool. I hear people saying, hey, I've never knew what plena and bamba music is like. I didn't know how much I'd like Puerto Rican music. So it's a really, truly amazing opportunity to really share that joy with the community. These are no cost concerts. These are donor sponsored, typically Friday or Sunday. And while some of the concerts like Cultural Planera or the Columbia Orchestra blow that 3,000 number out of the water, non-COVID attendance is typically 1 to 3,000. And then Chrysalis Cabaret, and featuring Oakland Mills' own Lavinia Neesmith. So it's a focus on adults and seniors. These are intimate concerts for 300 or fewer. They're seated events on the stage. Typically, it's an opportunity to highlight local artists and really amplify artists of color and local arts organizations. And then this is my favorite series, Chrysalis Kids. And my children are now 10 and 13, and they're telling me that, the time on me saying that this is my favorite series, they're not going to put up with it for much longer. Chrysalis Kids is our children and family program. Attendance pre-COVID, typically 5 to 2,000, diverse audiences and diverse artists. Prior to COVID, we focused a lot on partnerships with local schools with an emphasis on our Title I schools in walking distance. We had a great relationship with Stevens Forest. They were extremely responsive with backpack mail, where we really tried to tell people this is how you walk to the Chrysalis, and really make sure that people knew that they weren't just invited. They weren't just, allowed to come or welcome or invited. We really wanted them there. We really wanted all of these families there, and we wanted to make it as easy as possible to attend. And these are free, and these will always be free. And this is our DLC partnership from last year, DC Strings, BSO. And then finally, we come to cultural festivals. These are large events that include community partners. We have cultural and affinity groups in positions of partnership and leadership because we want to engage and serve the community, not tell the community what we think they want. It's a really great opportunity to share a diverse heritage. I think of this also speaking in Oakland Mills because one of the things I remember as a little kid is, I was a terrible performer, but I did Indian dance, and actually it was in the cafeteria at Oakland Mills High School, but it wasn't on a main stage. It was, very much just Indian people were there, and that's fine. And it was a long time ago, but it was incredibly meaningful to me to give these kids in Columbia and Howard County the opportunity to take their cultural heritage and their art and put it on a main stage. And not only are they keeping that tradition alive, they have this main stage investment and this opportunity to share that with all their friends, with their entire community. And we as a community are so much richer for being able to celebrate all those different pieces. So this year we've had AAPI Heritage Festival Holy, and we have Pride in the Latin Music Festival slated for later this year. And then I just want to talk a little bit about, just coming to Symphony Woods. So Symphony Woods is almost always open. We're working on park activations. First, we're putting in some pathway signage later this summer, some seating. The first seating that's going in is some boulder benches near those conservation landscape areas. And then we're working on these very small events just to turn on the park. And I find that I sometimes get feedback from people, are we really allowed to be here? Oh no, I don't think CA wants us here, or Meriwether wants us here, or these people. And I'm like, no, everyone has agreed in writing that Symphony Woods is open unless there is a ticketed event in Symphony Woods. So Symphony Woods is publicly accessible open space for everyone. So one of the ways that we're trying to train people about that is by having these events. Pinot's Palette is just a paint and sip event that's been very popular. We partnered with Columbia Association to have yoga. Actually, there was a yoga class today on the Chrysalis stage. Starting next month, we have Yappy Hour, which is a dog-friendly happy hour. And then we've had cornhole, or we're having cornhole, sorry, that starts next week with the Maryland Cornhole League. So just things that get people in the space and show everyone that this is a place for everyone. So that's my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions. And I'm actually just going to drop the link to these slides in the chat, so you are welcome to them at any time. There is not a chat.
Yeah, Nina, if you just email it to Sandy or me, we'll
Yeah, I
send it to
have
everyone.
it, and I did send it already to the board. And Amy, in the minutes, we can put the link.
Yeah, I can put the link, or I can try putting it as a PDF, because I saved it as a PDF. It's just a large file, so. Sure.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Sure.
Ginny?
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Nina, I just want to congratulate you. Not much was happening with the Inner Arbor, and frankly, I wasn't impressed when I first got on the board of directors. But you being the president, I think, and your staff have made a tremendous difference. You guys are creative. I love the way you do many diverse programming. I love the way you have lots of free program. Your sensitivity to people with access issues is phenomenal. You could hear you talking about that, but you also do it. You're a true defender of the land at Symphony Woods, which is really, really needed. So you believe in environmental issues, and your ability to obtain grants is phenomenal. That's what's needed. I'm a big believer in partnerships and getting other people involved and getting their money. I mean,
I very much agree. I mean, thank you for all those nice things, but I got to say, it's really the team. I am a big believer in hiring people smarter than I am. And we've got a great board. We are really pushing on outside funding. And, one thing that I swear I have no asks today. I think I told everyone, I promise you I'm not asking for anything today. But,
You got nothing.
but one of the things that we have done, I think, fairly effectively is be very annoying. And I think, that's sometimes our greatest talent, annoying the legislature, the county council, the county executive, and just reminding them that the upside for this space is the investment in the community and the investment in the kind of community we want to be.
right.
And I don't have big campaign donations to go anywhere. Our power is in our supporters. And we've been really lucky to have a passionate audience and, passionate folks who, this place means something to them. I always love listening to people talk at the Chrysalis. One of my favorite things, and this happens every single show that's family oriented, you'll have a grandchild take a grandparent around, and explain to them, yeah, this is the place I come all the time. This is my place. This is where I like, or I've been coming here since I was little. And I'm like, kid, you're like 6, you know, I mean, how little could you be? But I mean, I see that all the time, and the ownership of the community ownership, I think, is extremely important. And I know that we as a community go back and forth about what is the role of the villages and CA and county and everything, but the community feels like they own this space. You know, it doesn't matter what's on the deed, the community feels like they own this space and they advocate for us. But, you know, and I'm sure we'll see this on Saturday when we have a kids concert. Like, I just love looking on Instagram and seeing parents of very young kids. We saw it again last year. Like, for them, Chrysalis Kids was something we made up. It was like, you know, like, let's call it this, let's see what happens on our team. But it means something in the community now, and people are excited about taking their child to their first concert at the Chrysalis. So that's been really kind of awesome.
Well, Nina, I think one of our Oakland Mills residents deserves a little bit of credit for Chrysalis Kids, Julia McCready.
She deserves a tremendous amount of credit. For those of you who don't know the story, the first time we did a kids event, Julia had texted me and said, hey, I wonder how a kids dance party would turn out. So we put absolutely nothing into it. We put it on Facebook and 300 people showed up. And then during the off season, Chad Demore, who some of you may know, and I started to pitch a donor, and they were talking about marketing to families. And straight face, he's like, we've got this great kids series, this wonderful kids series. It includes all kinds of things, like this very popular dance party, you know. And like, we walked out of there with a check, and then I got to the parking lot and I asked him what the heck he thought he was doing, because we've had one kids event, not a series. But yeah, but thanks to Julia's, you know, leadership, really, it just snowballed from there.
Yeah, great. Well, listen, one comment. You use the word you're annoying in terms of legislators. I don't agree with that at all. I think you are offering them an opportunity for partnership that makes them look good. So I'd kill that word.
From someone who's been there, I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments for Nina?
I just want to thank you too. I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful gem. We talk about gems and communities, and your Inner Arbor and the whole Symphony Woods is a gem for everyone. And so that's actually what you said makes it more special for all of the communities. So thank you. I know how much you do and appreciate it.
Thank you.
I like to say it has so much to offer, and it offers so much.
That's what we're trying. And Warren,
Yeah.
I want to get back in touch about, you know, as we get into sort of a little bit of a normal season, to get some thoughts on you on biking. We're excited to see where that can go, because Oakland Mills is the closest village. I mean, you know, people think it's Wild Lake, but it's really Oakland Mills, because you don't have to cross any big streets because of the bridge. So
I agree. I go over to there all the time, probably twice a week on my bike. So yes, it's
awesome.
It's so close.
Awesome.
And thank you. I look forward to seeing I want to see what's it called? The Crooked Creek, or
the Bend in the Creek playground.
Bend in the Creek playground. That sounds like fun. I think I'm going to get in there with all the kids there.
That's the idea. It's fun for everyone to enjoy and play for all ages. It's going to be, we're really exciting. So awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See y'all later.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, Nina. You're welcome to stick around. No, she's gone.
That was cool. Thank you.
I thought maybe she might want to put her long reach hat on while I talk about Little Caesars.
That's why she left.
I'm kidding.
That's why
All
she
right.
left.
So that was our only new business. Welcome, Jerome, with your pleasant surprise. Good evening.
Good evening. My other meeting got let out quick, so I jumped over
Oh,
here.
good.
All right. Well, let me pause for a second, because without you here, I was going to skip right over the open architecture meeting, and I was just going to lead the closed session. But did you have anything for the open part of the committee reports for architecture?
No, no new business for the group.
Okay. All right. Then I don't need to write that back in. Okay. All right, now we'll resume our regular business. And the next thing is the board chair report. I actually have, we didn't have an education committee meeting because that's the second uh, uh, Tuesday, or I should say the fourth Tuesday, the second, before the second meeting of each month. But I do have several education items, so I will save them for an education report at the end. In terms of board chair report, kind of general community information, really the main thing I've been working on is to the extent I can work on it, is the loss of Little Caesars. So I think, we exchanged some emails over the past couple of weeks. You saw what I sent to some of our officials in our county council person's office and county executive's office. I haven't received a reply as of yet. Sandy and I talked about it, and Sandy did try to connect the owner of Little Caesars, who does not own that building, with Cedar, in case Cedar is now trying to release that NYC pizza. I don't really know exactly what the situation is. Obviously, the owner of that shop kind of, abandoned shop. I mean, it's still sitting there with its signs up and everything, but they're clearly not operating. And I don't know whether that's considered vacant at this point, or they're waiting for him to vacate. It does sound like, Sandy, if I was reading correctly, it does sound like the owner of Little Caesars had tried to approach Cedar before through their broker and was not
Yeah, I think it's
impressed.
I don't know. I think probably right now timing isn't good in that regard because of
Yeah.
a pending change in ownership.
The center's being sold, but it looks like, they've now put a large sign up, a large banner up on the side of the building saying they're moving to Long Beach this summer. So
Oh, I didn't
think,
see that.
yeah, I think that's pretty much a done deal. And unfortunately, the owner of that property is not one where we really have a two-way relationship, or much of a relationship at all. So we can try to get in touch, but I don't know if we'll hear, if and what the plans are for what comes next. I mean, I would assume they'll be looking to
There's a for lease
reach out to
sign on the
someone
other
else.
side.
Yeah. I didn't see that. I saw the
Yeah,
we're
that's
leaving
what I
sign, but I didn't
saw.
see the for
Yeah.
lease sign. I took a walk yesterday around it, and somehow I must have missed that, unless they put that up today.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so like I said in one of those emails, next time I'm over at my favorite kebab place, I'll remind them that they don't have anything east of 29. But it's interesting. I know several of us know this. Just the way our village center is set up with so many different owners, that you can't just maintain, one relationship with the leasing people from Cedar and know that you have the village center covered. And even with Cedar, they keep things very, very close to the vest until they're ready to share. So, we'll keep an eye out. I am going to stop by some of the other businesses, see how they're doing. I've recently been in LA Mart, and they're doing really well. I talked to the owner. Actually, it's been a couple of months now. He's not always there because he has the other stores. But he basically said he doesn't have to be there a lot because this is his best store, in terms of just how the staff are doing, the customers. He said it's just a real like neighborhood community store, and he absolutely loves the clientele and loves the way the business is going. So it's good to hear from the owner of the Anchor, that the Anchor is doing well. And I talk to Pizza Man frequently. It sounds like he's doing well. I've been in the liquor store and Lucky's recently. Haven't seen the owners there, had a chance to talk to them, but they have fairly steady clientele, and they're both long established businesses. So hopefully what we're seeing here is, I guess, what we would call a market correction. Maybe 3 pizza places were a little too many for one little village center, and we'll get some more variety as a result of some of this turnover. And that's really everything else is education related. So I will just hold it for an education report and move on to the next item, unless anyone has any questions or comments for me.
Nope.
All right, in that case, I will pass the baton to Ginny.
Thanks, Jonathan. One thing on when we're trying to sell the restaurant, Little Caesars restaurant, the location, they have a drive-through that's, I think would be a big plus. Your kebab guy may want to think about that. I don't know whether that's realistic for kebabs, but I think it might be. So that's a big plus for somebody in a restaurant business that can benefit from that. Not everyone can, I realize, but that could be a big plus.
Absolutely. I mean, the owner of Little Caesars, one of his disappointments is that he has to give that up by relocating. I mean, and the same thing would happen if he had relocated within our center, but you know, that's huge for him. And it's huge for a lot of businesses, especially these days.
It'll be interesting to know if his move is beneficial compared to if he had to pay more rent, because he's losing an established area, a lot of the schools, all of that compared to where he's going. I don't know that it'll work out to his benefit.
Yeah, when I was talking to the owner of Pizza Man, and I don't know if he knows something or was just guessing or what, because he sort of asked me, and I told him what I knew, and then he made a comment something along the lines of, well, it's a 3% increase, and I don't know if he inquired with the owner or what, but to me, I mean, given what inflation is right now, 3% is actually below inflation. But I guess when everything else is getting so much more expensive, that's hard to absorb.
Yeah, I mean, his space is a tough one for him. He might be looking at the other two spaces because the owner of his building is probably harder to work with than the Little Caesars owner based on, so he might have investigated other spaces.
Yeah. Uh-oh, Ginny just left her report.
No, I'm right. Just got
there she is.
Chuck's on a Zoom upstairs. I'm here, and the chicken I didn't want to get overdone. So I had to check on it. So anyway, let's see. If you guys have any more ideas other than what you've given us in terms of the village cash reserve, please let me know.
I do.
For the 23rd, okay.
I can wait, Jenny, can I bring it up for everyone to hear?
Sure.
So what I am concerned about, and I think a few other villages, but I don't know if there's been anything formal, is that during COVID, we were encouraged to get grants and loans in the name of our village with our village's federal tax ID number in our village corporation. And so we had a loan that we actually did pay off. We sent it back. We didn't use it and we didn't want to incur any more interest, but we had a grant from the state of Maryland Small Business Association for $10,000. And the first year we got it, well, in FY21 and FY21, they said, well, yeah, you can keep whatever funds were related to that grant. And now they're talking, I think they're going to give it to the CA board to decide whether the grants and loans should be part of our cash reserve. And my thinking is that those were taken out in the name of Oakland Mills Community Association, that those funds, I don't even know if it's legal to take our funds given to us by the state of Maryland and have that as our cash reserve, giving it back. And so I think it's a concern for the other villages. And even going forward, if we got a grant for, say, our lively arts or jazz in the mills, like those are grants we're getting as our association. We're going out, we're doing all the work. I feel like those should be exempt going forward and in the next management contract for sure, that any loans, grants, any other type of funding should not be included in the cash reserve.
Okay.
I completely agree with that. And I think even if it's legal, I would still argue that it's not appropriate, because if something like that happens, then the next time a village potentially goes for a grant, the grantor could question whether that money is actually going to stay with or be used by the village, or is it going to be turned over to someone else who did not request that grant. So I think even if it's legal, and I don't know, it puts the villages in a very compromised position going forward.
Okay. All right, anything else or?
No, I like the environmental thing, to keep it like it was. I don't know if the other board members agree. No, I mean, I think that the rest of it is fair and what we would have assumed. But the big issue is the grants and the loans and that.
All right, thank you.
Can can I add one thing to that? The environmental, while we're talking about it?
Yeah,
And maybe we can talk about this more at the pond tomorrow, but I do like what Bill and Gary sent to us for our consideration. You know, for a village that consistently manages its finances well and turns money over to CA, I don't necessarily know that we need to be in a rush to work with CA to spend that that excess cash reserve every year. If we can bank it and pool it, then maybe we could do a major environmental project rather than, you know, walking around looking for smaller ones to do.
That's good too.
okay. That one too, I'll be there tomorrow at 2:00, and then we go on another tour. Where am I here? 5:30 with Dennis on the Lake Elkhorn thing up in Long Reach and Owen Brown. But on the one that I'm a little disturbed about, the Stevens Forest Pond, in terms of the school board not taking their responsibility for their causing part of the problem. I don't think that's fair. I think, you know, this Board of Education has to accept responsibility for the design on their property and lack of retaining the water, et cetera. I think we've got to fight that. I don't think CA residents lien payers should be responsible for constant repairs to our facilities because the Board of Education doesn't seem to want to get its act together. So that's just a separate issue. But we'll be discussing it tomorrow.
What I had planned to do with that tomorrow is I wanted to go to that section and have John really show us and describe, you know, what the effect is from the school property. And then I was going to reach right out to a couple of members of the Board of Education and just, you know, bypass the staff and everything and try to get it elevated beyond the staff who deal with this, because the staff who deal with this, look, they're good people. We've met them at the Hill, and, you know, they're trying, but they're also very resource constrained. And, you know, they basically knowing what resources they have or don't have, they're basically conditioned to say no first.
Right. And then if nobody objects, they save money. It looks great for them. Yeah, understandable. And I'm sure if they really tried, they might be able to get some grants themselves to make these changes. But anyway, they have no incentive to try. So thank you. So it should be interesting tomorrow. Let's see. In terms of the CA board and how we function, there's a big change, which I more than welcome in terms of committees. I'm a big believer in different committees working. Oh, Jonathan, you look fantastic.
Thank you. I just didn't want to cough in all your faces.
He went into his professional mode.
Yeah, you know, I didn't know whether to salute or how do you do that? Okay. It's a great picture, actually. I love it. So, you know, I think we're looking at committees. We've formed a subcommittee and people volunteer to be on it, of policies and procedures, because there seems to be a lot of concern, confusion, et cetera, about how the board functions. And we want to definitely organize it, professionalize it, et cetera, and make it something that the residents understand and can just be familiar with and know how they can get their concerns responded to, et cetera. So a lot of issues on that as to what happens when a resident goes on resident speak out and or sends something to the board, et cetera. Same with the board concerns. So we have to be looking at all these procedures and processes and see where there's a conflict from the governance doctrines, documents, and board policy that was established. Some of it is obsolete and it was never repealed. It's just, I don't know how to put this, but I think an organizational mess have been going on for years. And it's not even, it's hard to find documents, quite frankly. So we want it to be at some point searchable. We feel very strongly about a searchable database available to not just the board, but the public as well. And that's a commitment from this board. Also, we've established, there's an ethics group looking at the ethics committee, at the ethics proposals that many of us have concerns about, so we kept delaying action on it or tabling it and studying it. There's a committee under the board policy committee looking at that. There's a new Lake Elkhorn committee that you might be interested in. Will be headed by Brian England, I believe. And there are board members that are volunteering to be on that. I volunteered for both. The money is great, let me tell you. So I'm going to be on both of those committees. It's really, I am concerned that the board and the public needs to have some educational meeting where they hear both sides on the Lake Elkhorn dredging, mitigation, et cetera, and what's happening up at Lake Long Reach, et cetera, and what the government's saying, you know. So I think that's really important to get done and get done in a timely fashion. Long overdue, in my opinion. So this committee will be working on what the process should be to educate those board members that feel they need it. And we do have new board members, and we have board members that have been on it before, but also feel they need to be educated. And there are some that don't feel they feel they already have taken positions. But this is, I think, important. So that'll be one of the first tasks, and there'll be other tasks for the Lake Elkhorn Committee. Brian is also looking, and I know he's done a lot of work and consulting with Bill. Thank you, Bill, and Gary, Oakland Mills residents, on open space. We have a climate committee, we have a watershed committee, but there's this whole thing about open space that's sort of in between and needs to, in my opinion, be covered. You know, all the encroachment, alleged encroachment issues that I won't go into, but that have been, you know, how do we handle all of this and how, so maybe that's got some potential too. Eventually, the budget will be coming up, and we'd really love to get your ideas at any point where you say, these are some things I think you need to be looking at. Some of us have hopes there'll be a budget subcommittee, and that the budget will be looked at a lot more in depth this year than it was in the past, quite frankly. And some of us are excited about that. So those are just some examples of changes you're starting to see with the board. Anything else? A lot of good stuff, a lot of activities down at the lakefront, free activities that CA is putting on, as well as, of course, the Inner Harbor has a lot of free events. So there's a lot going on this summer. The village centers have events, a lot for people to do. And I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. Any questions for Jenny?
Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. So what you got to be thinking about is with the pools or anything else, if there's things that you want, it'd be good to start just thinking about that and kind of just sending me stuff now. I know it's early, but the process will be starting in September. Why wait, right? Mm-hmm. So if you think of something, just send it as an individual or as a board, whatever you want to do. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, Jenny. All right, we're moving on to Sandy, and we do have to look at the budget one more time because of a update from CA.
I think, am I sharing the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so when I did the budget under annual charge, CA annual charge, that's the money we get from CA in 3 different categories. For other reimbursement, I had included this money we get back for gas charges for the Stevens Forest Pool for 4 months of the year, but that's not the category it goes in. So this is in workers' compensation reimbursement. So I had to change that number. So it slightly changes the overall budget. Nothing in any of our other categories. And then for expenses for our estimate for FY22, I had not included the depreciation, which is $4,333. So that just changes that figure. So it has to go back to you, the board, to approve the revised budget. And those were the only two changes from the CA accountants and auditors that look at it when we submit it.
Any questions for Sandy on either of those items? And Sandy, the gas reimbursement nets out elsewhere, right? It was just moving it to the correct line.
Yeah, it'll go into the gas and electric charges as income there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it goes somewhere else. But I didn't put it in there. But it doesn't matter. It's inconsequential in the end. It's less than $1,000.
Mm-hmm. Immaterial.
Yes, that's the word.
I work with a lot of accountants these days.
I don't. So anyway, I just need a motion discussion.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the budget as revised? All right. I see a motion from Bill. Is there a second? I have a second from Warren. Is there any further discussion? All right. All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. There we go.
So Jonathan,
when you stopped sharing, it didn't just disappear. Like it strobed. It flashed on my screen.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Those are special effects. I will send you, because we got our scanner working again on our copy machine. So I'll send it to you tomorrow to sign.
All right.
So thank you.
I can, if you want, I can even. Are you coming to the pond? Well, that's hard to do.
I'm planning on it, but I don't know because yeah, it'll be on my desk.
Okay, because I also have the payroll forms I need to give back to you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just have it on my desk. Yeah, I'm not sure I'll be at the pond. We're finally getting all our new window treatments installed in the loft tomorrow. So
good. Okay.
Yeah, so I might be there for that. So let's see, operation-wise, Amy was part of this. We ordered everything we need for a hybrid meeting. And our computer IT person that we hire, his name's Robin Abello. His company is called PerkWorks, if anyone ever needs a great person. So he came, he had told me what to buy, which included an inexpensive laptop, a nice camera that's mounted on a tripod, and a very good microphone that will sit on the board table. And we have mounted the 65-inch flat screen TV. So the only change in our board is that we will be sitting facing the TV. So we're going to be sitting at the other end of the room facing the TV so that we can see everyone who's on Zoom on the camera, on the monitor, which is the TV. You have a friend behind you, Jonathan.
That would be Shadow.
And then Amy took great notes. We're going to do a run through, but it should pick up the sound from everyone sitting at the board table. I can control the Zoom from actually my laptop to share screens, just like we're doing here. So I think it should run just like this, except we or anyone who on the board who wants to come to the meeting in person would be sitting in the same room, and the camera will be focused on us.
So is everything wireless and adjustable? Like for example, say we had Nina on a hybrid meeting, we'd probably not want to have our in-person audiences back to that screen because we'd want them to be able to see what she's sharing.
Well, they'd have to turn around.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not a good way. I mean, because if it was behind us, the audience would see the screen, but we wouldn't see the screen.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I was thinking, yeah, because we all wouldn't be sitting there with laptops. There would just be one on the table.
Right. Okay. So I'll have my laptop. Anyone can also bring a laptop if you want, and you just have to mute it so that we don't have interference with the sound. So that, we're going to do a dress rehearsal at the end of June. I'll be out of town next week, and then 1 or 2, Jonathan will come by, Amy will be there. And so, hopefully in maybe the first meeting in July, Jonathan, we can try to offer a regular meeting. I mean, my guess is that most people other than us will attend on Zoom, but that's great because hopefully it'll all work the way he showed us. So planning on that. I want to acknowledge Karina, who has gone after pretty much, any long unmowed lawns in Oakland Mills. It's the busiest time of year for her. And some of the homes were vacant, some are whatever. But I think by now, all of the really tall grass commercial and residential properties have been attended to. So she's been pretty busy. She writes great letters. People, acknowledge it. And so we're getting there. And we had a busy month of June. It's not over yet, with 3 rentals every weekend. Staff has handled multiple things, as well as Brigida and I. We had an issue with the elevator this weekend. No one in it other than equipment that shouldn't have been in it, but it took up most of our weekend nights and days. And so we have to deal with the fire department because they put a box next to the elevator with the elevator keys so that they had possession of it. And when we called them to open the box, because we needed to get the elevator open, they said they didn't have their key. So I put in, they said it twice, and it says fire department, and it's a standard key that everyone on a fire truck should have. And so I now have the key from the elevator company for the firebox, but I've put 3 calls in so far to the fire marshal's office, and I will call and call and call until I have someone tell me why that happened, because it was terrible. But anyway, we got through it all, and we've handled a lot of different things this month. So that's about it. If anyone has questions.
Any questions? All right, moving right along. We'll go to the committee reports. I guess I'm the only one with a committee report, even though the committee didn't meet, but I'll put the education items here. There are actually quite a few education items, actually it's a lot of good news. There are a lot of good things happening, and I think I've shared some of them with you, or you may have seen them elsewhere, but I'll just run down the list. First of all, a huge thing for our community. Today was the last day ever for students at the old Talbot Springs Elementary School. So they dismissed today. They're not going to do the 3 half days along with the rest of the schools. They're going to start moving things out of that building. And I think within 2 weeks, they're going to start demolishing that building. The Talbot Springs front office is going to operate out of Oakland Mills High School for the summer. And that's the end of that. We're getting the first brand new school in Oakland Mills since 1973.
Hey,
I was watching the Board of Education meeting last Thursday, because that's the meeting where they do all of the administrative transfers and promotions. And Oakland Mills has been heavily affected by that in the past. I think we've lost 1 or 2 principals a year for, I don't know, the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, Oakland Mills High went through 4 and 4 years on its own. And I know Stevens Forest has turned over, Thunder Hill, and Oakland Mills Middle has turned over, I think 4 times in recent memory. So good news, all of our principals are staying. No principals from the 5 schools in the village got transferred. We do have some assistant principal changes at Oakland Mills High due to a retirement, a promotion. One of the assistant principals, Ms. Reed, is being promoted to be the principal at Hammond. And then there are a couple of transfers, but all of our excellent principals are staying right where they are for next year. Another interesting thing they did at that meeting was they honored all of the principals of the year and teachers of the year since 2020. So 3 years worth of them. And there's always 1 principal of the year in Howard County and 2 teachers of the year in Howard County. And 4 of the 9 people honored came out of Oakland Mills. So we had Nancy Thompson was the 2020 principal of the year. Jeffrey Fink was the 2022 principal of the year. And then Ms. Wolf and Mr. Barry, both from Oakland Mills Middle School, were teachers of the year. So, given the number of schools we have, that's pretty impressive out of 1 cluster. Really out of just 3 schools all within walking distance of each other. It's not even the whole cluster got 4 of them. Oakland Mills boys and girls won the Class 2A State Track and Field Championships. And I know the county executive visited them a few days ago and, congratulated them on that win. On the day that we declared Gun Violence Awareness Day in Oakland Mills and wore orange, the students at Oakland Mills High School walked out with the principal's permission and approval. They walked out of first period, gathered on the field hockey field because of something else I'll update you on, and that they had speakers, and it was very well attended and also very very respectful. I may have snuck onto a hill opposite the school and watched a little bit, to see how it went, and it went very well. The reason they couldn't use the stadium is because the entire track at Oakland Mills High has been torn up and is being replaced. So they'll have a brand new track next year for their two championship teams, which is a good thing, because one of the things I feared is, when a school goes on the renovation list, they tend to stop making major investments under the theory that it's all going to get renovated anyway, and that track needed to be done, and it did get done. The outdoor classroom is open and in use. You've probably seen students there if you've driven by around lunchtime. Unfortunately, the event that was supposed to be, I think, last Friday and then was postponed to this Friday is now canceled due to some unexpected circumstances there. So I don't know if they'll try to do anything in the fall, but with Friday being the last day of school, they're not going to be able to do anything this year. And then another big thing for us, and I sent everyone an email on this, the feasibility report that kicks off the redistricting process to fill high school 13 came out. And for the first time, I think I said this in the email, I read it and didn't recoil in complete horror. It actually, it's what the Office of School Planning came up with for their scenarios is nothing like some of the things we've seen in the past in Oakland Mills. It really literally and figuratively changes Oakland Mills High School on the margins, if at all, should any of those be adopted. Same for Oakland Mills Middle School. Statistically, the schools would look similar to what they are, if not even regress a little bit more toward the county average. This is also the first time we're not starting from a position of, oh my gosh, they want to take Thunderhill and Allview out of Oakland Mills High and bring half of Anne Arundel County or something into it because they're stretching the border all the way. But basically, what the Office of School Planning is recommending is almost a correction to populate high school 13. All these kids who have to come. The Oakland Mills High attendance area right now goes to the eastern edge of the county. It goes all the way to the border, and it basically starts lopping some of that off and dispersing that into high school 13. And then there's additional space to fill in Hammond, and there's also some moves between Oakland Mills, Long Reach, and Howard. The only thing I noted, as is typical, is once again, not a single student would move from Howard to Oakland Mills. It's always Howard to Long Reach to Oakland Mills. But like I said, it's the best one I've seen yet. The Board of Education does not have to adopt any of these. They can go off and do their own thing. But the other two really good things out of that feasibility study are they emphasize the need for this addition at Oakland Mills Middle and say it's needed as soon as possible, like 2024. So I think if we keep on them, now in addition to having the community saying this is what is needed, having members of the board put this into the capital plan, which isn't budgeted yet, they have their professional staff saying, hey, if you put an addition on Oakland Mills Oakland Mills Middle School, it'll really help. So that helps our position. The other pleasant surprise was they say they in their planning documents from the Office of School Planning, they plan for Oakland Mills High School to have an additional 400 seats online by 2031. 2031 would be the year that a renovation of that school is completed, if it starts in 26. So if you recall, what the Board of Education did when they added Oakland Mills High is they added it as a renovation only. So I got in touch with Jolene Mosley last week and I said, hey, look at that feasibility report. So it adds 400 seats to Oakland Mills High. I said, that would be really good, because if you all want to add 400 seats to Oakland Mills High, it becomes a capacity project, not just a renovation project, and the state looks more favorably upon them. So that could be very, very good for us as well, and something to keep our eye on. It would also, pending another redistricting, it would drop Oakland Mills High School down to 85% of capacity when those 400 seats come online, which means it would be able to absorb from more crowded surrounding schools. So it would be what we need on the east side of the county, even with the addition of High School 13. So all in all, I was compared to what we've seen in the past, I was pleasantly surprised by what was in that feasibility report. There is no elementary school redistricting, because even though Talbot Springs will be a theoretically new school, it's not. It's Talbot Springs. It's a new building, but that new building is already filled with the kids who are right now out in all those portables at Talbot Springs, because Talbot Springs, if you go around back, they basically have a mini school around back. They don't just have the trailers like you see at Stevens Forest and Thunder Hill. They have a portable school around back that's been accommodating all the kids they have there now. So that's it. That's what I have for education. The committee will be meeting 2 weeks from now, and I might have more for you then. Any questions, comments? All right, let's head on over to the bulletin board, and then we can go into our, Sandy. There
Yeah,
we
I
go.
thought I could go first. I don't know if.
Go ahead, bulletin board.
So when we passed the resolution, I said, well, we have to light up Oakland Mills orange on the first Friday in June. So I ordered little LED lights, and Jonathan and his family met me up there, and it was light out. I'm like, they're never going to show orange. But later that night, Mark Tolson was working a party and he sent it to me. So we lit up the statue in orange. So, and it can be any color. There's lots of different colors, but that was in recognition of the gun violence awareness. So wanted to show that all to you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really looked good.
It was just, you're going to continue that, or in June, or just no?
Oh, I mean, it's every night, and these are they have to be turned on.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So unless one of you wants to volunteer to go up there at dark every night and turn on the little LED lights, but we could do it occasionally, or do another color or whatever. It has a whole lot of colors that we can do.
the orange means a lot. That's very.
Yeah, no, so that was great. So it's on our Facebook page throughout the whole month of June.
Thank you.
Yeah, that worked out well.
All right. Well, next on the bulletin board, let's go to Amy. Let's stick with the front office. Anything?
I don't think I have anything.
All right. How about Jerome?
Nothing for architecture chair.
Okay, Ginny?
No, not tonight.
All right, Warren.
I was at the BAG meeting and I learned that
What's
last
bad?
week, bicycle advocates.
Oh, I think I
group,
ask you this every time.
you
Okay.
know,
And I will continue.
the e-scooters opened up last week and they had 1,000 trips first, and that's way more than they've had with the bike share. So that's pretty cool. And I did ask them if they would be able to give us a count on how many people crossed the bridge. I think that would be important for Oakland Mills to see how effective it was. And they said they'll be able to do that for us. So.
Good.
Passed 4 on my way home on various sidewalks, obstructing them.
Oh.
Every time I'm out, I find one, see one.
Yeah, I had some
Yeah.
back and forth email with Chris, and apparently they can just be left anywhere within reason. So
Right.
I think that might need a little bit of work.
It's been there since Friday.
Yeah, but I did notice I was down in DC today for work, and I work along the First Street Northeast corridor, and that same company is providing the e-scooters that they're using in DC. But they seem to be like collected around like every several parking meters or something, at least the ones I saw.
Right, there's supposed to be a little corral like we have one, I think there's 10
Mhm.
so far, and that's where they're supposed to go. But I guess a lot of people do leave them helter skelter.
So according to what Chris told me, they don't have to go back to the corral. You get a
Right.
a slight refund on your rental if you return it to a corral, but he said you can really leave them anywhere, which I think is a little odd because I don't know how people then get them. It seems like it would be better to have a central place to get them. I guess maybe on the app, like the GPS tells you where you can just go
Right.
find one and use it. But like I don't even understand how they recharge if they can just be left wherever.
Well, they're supposed to, spin is supposed to go around at least every other day and pick them up and recharge them.
Okay, well
Well,
they
good luck.
so I might talk to Chris a bit more because when we were starting to see them everywhere this weekend, I called Spin, and you just get a recording that says they're busy and you can leave a message and they'll call you back or you can email them. The email address they provided is not a valid email address. It bounced back, so I called again to make sure I wrote it down right. So I left a message, and they they didn't call back either, because basically the message I left was I didn't know I could just move it. Like Chris said, you can just go move it if you want.
Right.
But one of them was actually blocking the pedestrian refuge at Kilimanjaro and Stevens Forest. And it was, like Sunday night. And I said, well, we'd appreciate if this could be moved out of the way before all the kids are walking to school, because it's, it's going to make them walk out into traffic, or they're just going to take it and do who knows what with it. Free scooter. But I never got a call back. So Chris and I were emailing, and we both agreed, well, let's chat a little bit. Maybe there needs to be an education campaign and a few other things so that they're not just left wherever.
Well, Jonathan, I think you need to, the board needs to contact CA or send it one of those, concern things, because when we dealt with this a couple of years ago, one of the concerns was exactly what's happening now shouldn't happen. And I thought the agreement was that they would have certain areas where you had to return them there. Or if you return any place in Columbia anyway, or on the CA property, you would get a fine. You would be charged more than you normally would pay if you just dropped it anyplace. So I'm not happy to hear this. And I saw one on Stevens Forest Road, sort of in the Exxon area, across the road though. And I'm thinking, how far did you have to go, buddy, to just put it up where the bus stop is, So I don't know what's going on. That they should know who rented it. They should know where the location is. They're supposed to pick them up. And I didn't know it was every other day. People can get hurt in the meantime. So I don't think we should be responsible for monitoring this and putting them on the grass or something.
No.
I would-
When Chris sent that, I wrote back and I said, I think that's a bit much to ask of our residents or tell them. It's sort of like telling someone, well, if you don't like that someone just littered, you can go pick it up.
Right, yeah. So I'm not happy to hear that. And I think we need to kind of catch it in the bud, so to speak, and
Yeah.
do something about it, because Jessica is the one honchoing this for CA, so she needs to be notified.
Yeah. And I contacted Chris not on behalf of the board. I just contacted him because I was seeing stuff. I was
Right.
curious about how this should be handled, because I actually thought the company tracks them, what Warren said, tracks them through GPS and then collects them. But once I saw they were out all weekend and then into Monday morning, I realized, well, that must not be happening.
Into Tuesday.
And
Chris
maybe
did
it's a
say
matter
that.
of maybe it's a matter of semantics, but the way Chris described it, you don't get an additional charge for not returning it to the corral. You pay full price if you don't return it to the corral, and you get a little discount if you do.
Correct.
And
Yes.
it's psychologically, those semantics might matter, right? Because the dollars and cents might work out the same, but maybe if you present it as, this is the price you pay for returning it to the corral, but we're going to tack on an additional fee if you don't. That's a little different than you get a discount for returning it, or you just pay the regular price if you don't.
Right.
Even though the math is exactly the same.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right. And what I don't get is some of the places I've seen them dropped is, where the heck were these people going?
I know there's one by Jeffers Hill Elementary School, which I don't even believe is on the route.
Uh-oh, they're not supposed to be able to
The
go.
geofencing should have stopped that unless someone just.
Right,
picked it
because I
up
mean,
and-
it should end at Blandair Park, I would think.
So that's another thing I would add to it, do these, are they programming them correctly? That, if we need to bring it to the company's attention or this will get out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I mentioned to Chris in the email was that, I'd hate to see communities start turning against this because people are finding them, in their lawns and blocking their paths and things like that.
You just
'Cause
need
I still think it's a good thing, but it
you just need a
there
few
needs to be
people
some control.
calling on them and putting it on next door neighbor and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And,
Oh, it'll happen.
yeah, so
Everything goes on next door.
So if the board would consider an email to the CA board, I'd appreciate it. And we can follow up with Jessica and Lakey.
I mean, if everyone's okay, I can write something to the CA board, just summarizing what I said and, the back and forth I had with Chris, basically say I contacted county transportation and this is the way they explained how this works to me. And we have some concerns about that if it's correct.
Yeah, and I think you need to say, other board members say that they've seen these in other locations in the village, where, in other words, tonight you heard from others that there's a problem in different areas and put the Jeffers Hill in there. One was left.
Yeah, and 2 on Oakland Mills Road down by, Sewell's Orchard, which I don't think is in the route either.
No.
Yeah, 2 of them, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think people
you
can
put
actually
that-
walk they can move, they could pull it, the power just stops.
That's what's happening.
it'll cut
Kids
the-
are
it'll
doing
cut the
that, I
power.
bet.
And they might just want to go a little further with it for some
Yeah.
reason. Why would you do that? I don't know.
A kid
but-
will do it. They'll pick it up and
Yeah,
just take it.
sure.
Well, can't you then pick it up and take it back to where you can use it rather than just dump it?
I have no idea. Maybe these people are actually taking them where they can put it and other people are just taking them and putting them other places. Who knows, thinking they'll work.
Yeah, I
mean, well,
can
for
see that this
example,
is a new thing, and I can see that a kid would grab it and try to move it somewhere. Oh, let me take it home, or let me
Yeah, I
take
can get it to
somewhere.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I think there's going to be a learning curve. We
Right.
need to. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm ready to be upset about things yet, but maybe just right. We
I
should.
want to prevent people from getting upset,
Right.
because it will happen, right? Once more people start seeing these things and realizing what they are, they're going to go, oh, what the heck did we get ourselves into now?
Or I told you so, because there was
Yeah.
a lot of opposition to doing this and that they didn't want them on the paths, et cetera, much. Yeah, so you don't want that. I told you so, you shouldn't be doing it. I'd see this positive, Warren. It's just saying, hey, we want to bring to your attention some of the concerns so that you can begin to, one, tell us what your policies are and begin to address them. I see it as positive rather than wait for the thing to get explosive. So at any rate. Okay.
All right, Bill. Oh, Warren, did you have anything else? I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay, Bill.
Nope.
All right, I don't have anything. All right, so next, assuming we get a motion to do so, we need to go into a closed session to discuss pending or potential litigation of an architecture matter. When we go into closed session, I will put everyone in the audience in the waiting room, and then when we come out of closed session, I will bring you back. We will announce the results, and then we will be able to close out the meeting. So is there a motion to enter closed session? Oh, do I have the form?
Amy sent it to you.
Oh, I can use the same one from the last time we did it, right? It doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah, because
There
it
should
wasn't
be one
pre-filled.
that the signature works on. Didn't I send that?
Amy, you can stay, by the way.
Yeah, but I thought I sent did I send you the one that had the corrected signature form? Mine?
Updated closed session form.
I don't have my laptop up right now. I'm on my computer, so.
Is it closed session statement fillable 522?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, it was
I've
after
got it.
that, because the meeting was on the
Oh.
24th. I think the next day, I think the 25th, maybe I sent you one. I tried to do it pretty quick.
Um,
Let me see if I have it.
Well, I think we trust you to fill it out later if we can, just deal with it later, no?
I'm just gonna use what I have and then I'll transfer it later. I just need a copy open so I can take some notes because I need to do like the time of the motion and all this other
Oh,
fun
okay.
stuff.
I'm sending one to you, Jonathan. I think it might be right. I'm not sure. I just sent it. And I also, we didn't do a motion to close the meeting yet.
No, because I have to record somehow this one's already filled out.
Okay, well then you'll
Okay,
just have to.
I'm
use
just
it
gonna,
as a-
I don't want to waste our time. I'm just gonna go with this. I'll just overwrite it, and if I have to come down and sign it in person, I will.
No,
all
we'll
right,
get it to you,
so-
don't worry.
Is there a motion to go to
So
closed
moved.
session?
Sorry.
All right,
Amy,
I
I
have a
can
motion
stop
from Ginny.
recording and then start, right? Okay.
Not until we
No, I know,
do
I'm
the
just
open part.
asking, I'm just
Yeah.
asking her.
Pause, don't stop, pause.
Okay,
Yeah, whatever you did last time, it worked.
I didn't do anything right. Okay.
So
Okay.
moved.
Is there a second? All right, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 0. Okay, we're gonna go into closed session, so go ahead and want to start? Okay, we are back to open session. Do we have anyone sitting in? No one's sitting in the waiting room, but I will still follow procedure and announce. So the purpose of the closed session was to consider the removal of flag on the annual charge and denial of access to CAA facilities and programs for a property that was formerly not in covenant compliance. And in the closed session, the architecture committee agreed to petition CA to remove the flag and restore access to CA facilities and programs for that property because it has been brought back into compliance. And with that, we can adjourn. Thank you all very much.
Thank
Thank
you. See you tomorrow, those who are coming, if I'm there.
See you tomorrow. And